Have you ever been in a relationship with with a force of nature? Someone who is just so full of life, so charming, and so unbelievably forgetful? If you've ever felt like your partner is married more to the moment than they are to you, then you are in exactly the right place. We are going to unravel the beautiful and, chaotic mystery of the sanguine personality.
Just picture it. It's your anniversary, you booked that special table, the one you both love, you're all dressed up, you're excited, and you're checking your watch. 5 minutes late. Okay. 10. 20. And you can feel that familiar knot just tightening in your stomach. Every happy couple that walks by just makes you feel more and more alone. And then, right when you're about to call it a night, they burst through the door. But they're not sorry. Oh no. They're beaming. They're holding this ridiculously huge bouquet of flowers, and they have the most incredible story about helping a tourist rescue a cat from a tree, which somehow led them to a spontaneous street parade. They have absolutely no idea what you've just been through for the last hour. And right here, this is the moment your two worlds just collide. You feel invisible, totally unimportant, like you're just a footnote in their grand, chaotic adventure of a life. But from their side, they feel completely misunderstood. I mean, they brought you flowers. They had an amazing story to share. Why are you so upset? And that disconnect, that's the heart of the whole problem. So here's the most important thing to get. The issue is not a lack of love, not even close. The problem is that you are in a relationship with the wind, and you can't be angry at the wind for blowing, right? But what you can do is learn how to build a windmill. And that's what we're going to do today. Explore the science and the strategy behind loving this beautiful force of nature.
To really get what's going on with your partner, we have to go back in time. And I mean way back. All the way to the ancient Greeks who came up with this brilliant way of understanding personality that honestly still holds up today.
Okay, so Hippocrates believed our personalities were ruled by 4 bodily fluids, or humors. Now check this out. The sanguine temperament was linked to an abundance of blood. This connected them to the element of air and the qualities of being hot and moist. Now, hot just meant they were quick to react, full of energy, and moist, that meant they were adaptable, sociable, good at connecting with people. Does that sound like anyone you know?
You know, this whole air element thing is the perfect metaphor. Just think about it for a second. Air is literally everywhere. It connects everything. It's light, it's always moving, and you absolutely cannot contain it. That is the essence of a sanguine person. They're fun, they're popular, they're charming, because just like air, they fill any space with energy and connect with anyone. But yeah, they're also just as restless.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Bodily fluids? Seriously? But what is so fascinating is how this ancient wisdom maps almost perfectly onto what we know from modern neuroscience. Let me show you how.
So, fast forward to the 20th century, and the psychologist Hans Eysenck comes along. He identifies 2 major personality dimensions, extraversion versus introversion, and neuroticism, which is basically emotional instability versus stability. And here's the kicker. Look where the sanguine lands. They are the perfect storm of high extroversion and high stability. They're super outgoing, but also incredibly resilient emotionally.
And Eysenck even gave us the biological reason for this. It's something called cortical arousal. It turns out that extroverts, our sanguine friends included, have a naturally lower level of baseline brain activity. What that means is they feel understimulated, kind of bored in quiet situations. So their constant hunt for novelty, for adventure, for people, it's not just a preference. It's a biological need to get their brain to a normal level of arousal just to feel awake and alive.
And that emotional stability part, that means their nervous system bounces back from stress incredibly fast. This is why, after you've been stewing for an hour about something they did, they have genuinely completely moved on. They don't hold grudges. They don't dwell. It's not that they're dismissing your feelings. It's that the argument has literally vanished from their emotional radar. They just forget.
And just in case you think this is some new pop psychology fad, listen to this. This is from the philosopher Immanuel Kant, writing centuries ago. He absolutely nails the sanguine person, full of good intentions, sociable, but terrible at keeping promises because something new and shiny has already caught their eye. See? This isn't a new problem. It's a timeless one.
Okay, so we've got the biology, we've got the history, but how does this actually play out moment to moment? Like, why did they really choose to chase a cat up a tree instead of showing up to your anniversary dinner on time?
Well, sanguines operate almost entirely on whims. Their brain is just wired for novelty. The best way to think about it is like a kid in a candy store. That giant lollipop is the most amazing thing in the world until they spot the chocolate fountain and then the gumball machine. Their attention is completely hijacked by whatever is new and exciting right now. A long-term plan, like a dinner reservation you made last week, it just can't compete with the immediate thrill of a spontaneous parade.
In a really helpful framework called positive intelligence, this whole pattern is identified as a specific internal saboteur, and it's called the Restless Saboteur. Now, this isn't a character flaw. It's not them being a bad person. It's a deeply ingrained mental habit that's always scanning the horizon for excitement in the next thing, which makes it really hard to find peace in what's happening right now.
So let's break down what this restless saboteur is all about. This is the part of them that gets easily distracted, that seeks out constant new stimulation, and that bounces away from any uncomfortable feelings at lightning speed. But look at that last point, because it's the most important. Underneath all that fun and frenzy, it's often an escape. It's an anxiety-driven need to avoid just being present, especially if present feels a little bit boring or difficult.
So you can start to see how this whirlwind of a personality can create some serious friction, right? Especially if you're a more grounded, plan it all out kind of person. When these two worlds collide, it can feel like you're in a constant battle.
And this is the classic conflict right here. They are the ultimate optimists. Their core belief is that somehow everything will just magically work out in the end. And that can be a wonderful, beautiful quality. But it is absolutely infuriating when you're the one staring at the practical realities, the schedule, the budget, that stack of unpaid bills that they have cheerfully ignored while chasing their next adventure.
And this right here perfectly sums up the core challenge, and surprisingly, it also points to your new role in the relationship. They have all this energy, right? It's like a powerful, untamed river. The problem isn't the energy itself, it's that it has no direction. And believe it or not, that's where you come in.
So the big question, how do you live with and love the wind without losing your mind? Well, it takes a fundamental shift in your approach from trying to control them to helping guide them.
But first, a really important warning. Your gut instinct might be to try and ground them, to fill their calendar with rules, demand rigid structure, make them feel guilty for their spontaneity. But you have to remember, if you put the wind in a box, it's not wind anymore. Their joy, their charm, that infectious love of life, the very things you fell in love with, are born from that same chaotic energy. If you kill it, you kill the core of who they are. So I want you to think about this. Instead of being an anchor that tries to stop the boat, you need to become the rudder. See, an anchor just creates drag. It creates resentment. It's a constant fight against a natural force. But a rudder doesn't stop the boat. It uses the power of the wind and the water to gently but firmly guide the ship toward a destination.
Okay, so here's your game plan. Number 1, embrace the fun. As much as you can, lean into the chaos. Enjoy the surprises. Number 2, set iron boundaries. These are for the absolute non-negotiables. Things like finances, safety, health. These are the fence posts in the relationship that cannot be moved. And number 3, and this one is key, become their external memory. Stop being angry that they forgot. Accept that they will forget and take control. You are the one who puts the anniversary, the bill due dates, the appointments directly into their phone's calendar with 3 alerts.
Look, in the end, loving a sanguine is a choice. It is choosing to get on the roller coaster. And yes, it will be unpredictable. There will be terrifying drops that make your stomach lurch. But if you can learn to hold on tight and just enjoy the ride, you'll also experience the most thrilling heights. And I promise you, you will never, ever laugh so hard in your entire life.